Okay, in this tutorial we're going to show you how to make a box out of components. So you can separate them out into individual components or put them together as a complete box. I'm going to start by opening up the box that I made earlier by double clicking on its icon. I don't need to choose a template because it's already in the correct woodworking template, so I can just start using SketchUp. And here's the box that we made earlier. Notice that I've added some dimension lines to it, and I'll show you how to do those in a little bit. Let's start by viewing our axes and viewing our guidelines. And I'm actually going to click on these guidelines and delete them, all three of them, so that they're not in the way. And I'm going to orbit until I can see things a little bit better. I'm going to slide that over to the left. Now I'm going to take my rectangle tool and I'm going to, on the green axis, I'm going to come up here. Make a rectangle that is 2 space 1/2, 2.5, comma 5. And I've done it the wrong way, so we'll just go down and retype 5, comma 2.5, return. There we go. That's the rectangle that we were looking for. And if I orbit just a little bit, there we go. I can take my push-pull tool, pull that forward a 1/2 inch, and then I'll take my tape measure tool to put a guide on there. I'll put that guide up at a 1/4 inch up from the bottom, and that will guide me to draw a rectangular groove that is 1/4 by 5, and that push that back with the push-pull tool, push that back a 1/4 inch, and that gives me my dado cut where I will slide my bottom into the side of the box. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rotate my orbit tool. I'm going to rotate up here so that I can see the top. Slide it over just a bit. Again, I'm going to place some guidelines from the end of my box in 1/2 inch, and on the other side it should snap to the 1/2 inch because I've done a 1/2 inch so far, and you can see it doesn't quite know, so I will go ahead and type in 1/2 inch. Using my line tool, I can draw the lines that will be my miter cuts. Okay. Then using the push-pull, I will take that triangle and push it as far down as I can. Notice it doesn't go all the way to the bottom, so I've gone down as far as I can. I now need to take my select tool and get rid of this line here. I can take the push-pull, slide that down to the bottom. And you'll notice that this diagonal line right here does not come all the way to the front, not all the way to the front. So I need to extend that line out to the front. I can also use my select tool to get rid of this small line segment. And then I'm ready to use the push-pull to take that bottom triangle, push it down to the bottom, and it should be gone. A couple more lines to get rid of. This one, and there's a little tiny piece of one right, nope, not that one. Let's zoom in at that line segment, get rid of that. All right, now I've made that entire miter cut. Let's go over to the other side and do the same thing. So using the push-pull tool, I'll highlight the triangle and push it down as far as I can. Using the selection tool, I will select that line segment and get rid of it, and select this little piece of a line segment here and get rid of it. I'll then use my push-pull tool The little triangle I can push down to the bottom. My selection tool, I can get rid of that line segment. Now using the line tool, I have to extend that diagonal to the edge, and then using the push-pull, I can get rid of that last bit of the triangle. Orbiting around to the front a bit, and you can see that we have one side of our box with a nice groove cut in it. I have one more little line segment there that I don't need. And again, you might need to zoom in to get a piece of it. There we go. Zooming back out with my 2-finger zoom. Alright, so I have the 2.5 by 5 side of the box. Now I need the short side of the box. So what I'm going to do is, using my selection tool, I'm going to draw a rectangle around the entire box to select it. I'll copy it using Command C. I'll paste it using Command V. And I will line it up there we go. I don't want to be on the... that's fine. We'll put it right there. Sliding things over a bit. Now, I want this one to only be 3 inches wide on the outside, and currently it's 5 inches wide. So if I select everything on the end, notice it only selects lines that were entirely inside of that rectangle. I can then use my move tool right here, my move tool, and I can move that over to the left. I need to move it 2 inches. And now it should be 3 inches by 2.5 high. Just use my selection tool and click anywhere on the blank screen in order to deselect that. Now I have 2 sides. And I need to make the bottom of my box. So I'll go back to my rectangle tool. I will draw a rectangle that is, and I know this from doing the calculations, this needs to be 2.5, comma 4.5, or 4.5. There we go. And using my push-pull tool, I will move that up 1/4 inch, return, and that'll be the bottom of my box. And what I've created here, if I put these in the center, I've created a plan view where I have, actually let's look at everything all at once. I have my entire box here in 3 dimensions, and I have the individual pieces. Now obviously I'll be making 2 of these and 2 of these and just 1 of these, and then fitting them all together. To see how that we can take these individual pieces, turn them into components, and put them together into a box, you'll have to watch part 2 of this tutorial.